Pokemon Masters, PokePatrol here, and do you want a Pokemon challenge harder than any other? What's that? Professor Oak wants you to see 151 Pokemon? That's cute. I want you to play every single Pokemon game that is possibly playable and create a Pokedex using the hardest to catch Pokemon out of all of them. Every Pokemon, every form, every gender variant. And I know what you're thinking, Toby, I have a job, I have commitments and responsibilities. I can't spend all my time playing Pokemon. And to that I say, you don't have time to play every Pokemon game ever? Well, then maybe this challenge isn't for you, but if you're looking for something really next level, harder than a complete Pokedex, then this is the video for you. Because with the release of Pokemon Home and a new generation with Sword and Shield, we now have, there's just so much out there to catch. And boy oh boy, do I have a challenge for you. If you'd like to follow along, follow the rules. There is a spreadsheet with all of the details in a very analytical way linked down below. Thank you to Mystical Man Joe and the rest of the Discord community for making it. If you're interested in discussing with others about how they are going about completing this challenge, there's been a pretty active community there since I did my Master Dex challenge. For those of you who don't know what it is, don't worry about it, we're not doing that anymore. But I have a pretty active community there of people who are hunting for the rarest of the rare Pokemon from across the Pokemon games. So I do recommend you join discord.gg/Berkey where we're hanging out and there's just a chat dedicated to this challenge. Because yeah, over previous years I have done a big Pokedex challenge, but now with Pokemon Home, that challenge is over, and we're moving on to the Pokemon Home Master Challenge, and you have between now and the release of Generation 9 to complete this challenge. So, here are the details. Right, here is my Pokemon Home, just to kind of give you an example to show you what's going on. And as you can see, right from the get-go, I have what's called a living dex, a living Pokedex, which means I have one of every single Pokemon across all of my boxes, but not just the Pokemon. I also have one of every different form variant and every different gender variant. Actually, if I slow down that final box there, this is the box that I'm not quite done with yet, where I'm trying to fill it up with every Pokemon that can possibly Gigantamax. Yeah, I'm going for the full thing. The only thing that this challenge doesn't include, until the later stages, I'll tell you all about that at the end, is one of every shiny Pokemon, of which I only have about a box of shiny Pokemon, which is still quite a lot. And if that seems intense, that's because it is. But the point of this challenge, the Pokemon Home Master Challenge, and why I want to do it, is that I want to force you to play every single Pokemon game, or at least trade with people who have. And also to catch Pokemon in the hardest way that you possibly can. So for example, let's just look at these Kanto Pokemon, right? The first 151 Pokemon, it's about the first 4 or 5 boxes. Believe it or not, all of these Pokemon, and this is my challenge to you, as you can see indicated by the little Game Boy logo on the screen, all of these Pokemon have come from Virtual Console Pokemon Red, Blue, or Yellow on the 3DS Virtual Console. You can transfer Pokemon from the Virtual Console games through Pokemon Bank up to Pokemon Home, so the first 151 Pokemon, unless I say otherwise, which I will do in a minute, they must come from Virtual Console Red, Blue, and Yellow. Similarly, all of the Johto Pokemon, they've got to come from Virtual Console Gold, Silver, and Crystal. Now, because it adds to the challenge, all of your Hoenn Pokemon, they've got to come from Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, the Game Boy Advance games. If a Virtual Console version of these comes out, then I will accept that, because they are effectively the same game, and you can kind of see what we're doing here. We're going with the original release. Like, for the first 151, I could have said just from Kanto, which would include Virtual Console, it would include Pokemon Let's Go and Fire Red and Leaf Green, but no, we're going with the oldest medium possible, because I think that just adds more of the challenge and the nostalgia and the fun to it. So with Sinnoh, even if there's a remake next year, all of your Sinnoh Pokemon, unless I say otherwise, and I will do an update if that comes around, they must all come from Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. Now, when you get to the Unova games, because there's not a remake in sight, that stuff becomes a lot more straightforward. All of your Unova Pokemon must come from Black and White and Black and White 2. All of your Kalos Pokemon must come from Pokemon X and Y. All of your Alola Pokemon must come from Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. And of course, all of your Galar Pokemon must come from Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. Where else would they come from? These are the only games with Galar Pokemon in. Oh, and by the way, any Pokemon or new forms that come out in the Isle of Armour and Crown Tundra, obviously you will need to catch them. Okay, but what about all the forms and the gender variants? Do you need to get those specifically from these games? Well, with the gender variants, I'm gonna say no. With the gender variants, it doesn't matter which Kanto they came from. For example, let's just take a look at these two Doduo. You've got the female one, it says that it came from Kanto, but there's there's no Game Boy logo. That's probably because it came from Let's Go, or it came from Fire Red and Leaf Green. Probably Fire Red and Leaf Green. Whereas this Doduo has the Game Boy logo because it came from Virtual Console Kanto. When it comes to the, I think to the gender variants, it doesn't matter. Just that they came from the region that they originated in. That applies for all of the forms, although actually, as part of this completing a national dex, you will get gifted in Pokemon Home an original form of Magearna. That will just say that it's from Pokemon Home, because that's the only way to get it. And there are Pokemon like the 10% Zygarde, for example. This form didn't exist in Kalos, so you can only get this from the Alola region, and that's totally, you know, you got to get it from the region it first appeared in. My only exception to that is Vivillon, because I think it's ridiculous to ask you to get all Vivillon from the region that they originated in, which is Kalos, just because that GTS is being used less and less by the day, and it's becoming harder and harder to do that. A few other important ones to note, for example, let's take a look. There's Keldeo, for example. Or from Kalos, I have both forms of Hooper. Neither of these Pokemon, any mythical Pokemon that aren't available currently within games, you can just get those from wherever, whether that's trades with friends or past events. It doesn't matter where they've come from. They don't need to be from their home region. Whereas something like Deoxys, for example, that is available in the post-game of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and sadly, because it's got 4 different forms, all 4 of them need to come from these games. So, yeah. Good luck with that. The only other exceptions, I guess, that are worth talking about is there's the Cat Pikachu. This is from the Alola region because, of course, it wasn't in any Kanto games. In fact, this Cat Pikachu, there are a number of Cat Pikachus, but this is the only one that is constantly available because you get it via QR code. All the other ones don't matter in this challenge because those events don't run, so you just can't get them. The other exception to the rules, I guess, with the form decks at least, is just because I think it'll be a little bit harder, is all of your unknown, they need to come from Virtual Console Gold, Silver, and Crystal. I just think that adds to the sense of the challenge. Apart from exclamation mark and question mark, they need to come from Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, which is the first region, or the first games, where those forms were introduced. So that's where they need to come from. Okay, all sounding straightforward and simple enough? Yeah, I bet it's not. This, while in itself getting a living dex from all of their original appearances with all of the forms and the gender variants, that is hard enough. But there is more. Pokemon Masters! This is the Pokemon Home Master Challenge. It is for the toughest of the tough, the biggest of the big. And so me and the community of other collectors who are searching for the rarest of rare Pokemon over there on Discord, they're in that chat, and you know, everyone's helping everyone out to get these. There are some Pokemon in each and every game that are very much prizes, exceptions to the rules that I've just kind of established. And so I'm going to go through the games, I think, one by one, generation by generation, just establish what you're gonna want to get hold of. For example, let me skip forward to some of the Generation 2 Pokemon. Let's just take a look at this Crobat. This Crobat, as you can see, it has the Virtual Console logo, which means it came from a Virtual Console game, but it says that it came from Kanto. This is because Zubat is originally a Kanto Pokemon. I transferred it into a newer game like Sun and Moon when it was a Golbat, and then evolved it while it was in Sun and Moon. And so it's a Virtual Console Crobat, a Johto Pokemon, that's come from a Kanto Virtual Console game. So that list is Crobat, Blossom, Steelix, Espeon and Umbreon, Scizor, Kingdra and Porygon 2, Magnezone, Licky and Rhyperior, as well as Sylveon from the Kalos region. All of these Pokemon should have a little Game Boy logo by them. And they should say that they've come from the Kanto region. And the way you're going to do this is you're going to catch their pre-evolutions in Virtual Console Red, Blue and Yellow, transfer them up and evolve them. Oh, and just to add a little bit more, this also applies to Galarian Weezing, Alolan Raichu, Alolan Exeggutor, and Alolan Marowak. They all also need to come from Virtual Console Kanto, which you do by trading them to the region where their variants are a thing. So you transfer a Pikachu, a Cubone, or an Execute to the Alola games for those evolutions, and you take a Coughing from Virtual Console Red, Blue, and Yellow, and you transfer it to Sword and Shield through Pokemon Home and Pokemon Bank, and that's how you get that. So make sure to catch extras of those families of Pokemon when you're playing Virtual Console Red, Blue, and Yellow. Oh, and side note, to make your life easier, when it comes to Pokemon like Eevee or Porygon, which you can only get one per run through in Virtual Console Red, Blue, and Yellow, if you trade them to the Virtual Console Johto games, you can actually breed them, trade them back to the Kanto games, and if you transfer them from there, they still read as coming from Kanto. So kind of a little bit of a loophole. Saves you getting 9,999 coins on the game corner 3 times over with Porygon. Similarly with Johto, it is the exact same deal. Make sure you've got hold of an extra Apon, an extra Misdreavus or Sneasel, an extra Murkrow or Togetic or Yanma or Piloswine, because of course all of these Pokemon evolve in later generations. So get hold of an extra one so that when you transfer them up, these evolutions will read from Johto. Oh, I forgot to mention, Glaceon and Leafeon, they're also supposed to be Virtual Console Kanto, same as Porygon Z. One more small thing before we leave the Virtual Console games, Pokemon Crystal on Virtual Console offers you a Celebi, so your Celebi needs to come from here. You get that for completing the game. Moving on, Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. You're going to want to get hold of an extra Roselia, an extra Dusknoir, and Curlia, as well as I think Snorunt of the correct gender, because all of those Pokemon from Sinnoh, you know, Frostlass, Gallade, any of them evolve from a Hoenn Pokemon, they should come from these games. Also, something else I'm adding to the challenge, your Cyndaquil or Chikorita or Totodile need to be from Professor Birch from Pokemon Emerald, which is a prize that you get. You get to choose one for completing the National Dex. So one of your Johto starters needs to be from this. But for that reason, no cheating, because, I mean, obviously, you'll know, and you're the one taking on this challenge. Fire Red and Leaf Green, their main inclusion is to help you out with the other gender variants, and as I mentioned before, the exclamation mark and question mark unknown. And also from Gen 3, and I'm not leaving them out, the GameCube games. There are some big Pokemon that you can get in these games. Ho-Oh is kind of the main prize at the end of this game, as well as Togetic. Lugia and Dragonite are the big prizes in this game, so your Ho-Oh and Togetic need to come from Colosseum, and your Lugia, Shadow Lugia, and your Dragonite, which you get for catching all of the Shadow Pokemon, they need to come from this game. You can actually see that marked up with my Lugia. It says that it came from a distant land. That's because it came from the land of Ore in Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. Also, there is a Jirachi, and as you can see, mine says the original trainer is Channel. That's because mine came from Pokemon Channel, the GameCube game. However, for some of you in the world, you have a Colosseum bonus disc, but for me here in England, it's Pokemon Channel. Generation 4, there's just 2 extra things that you want to look out for. In Pokemon Platinum, if you have, I think it's Fire Red or Leaf Green in the bottom side of the DS, when you go to the old Chateau, you can catch a Gengar where Rotom usually is. So your Gengar needs to come from there. I still need to get that one. A lot of it is just finding the time. The other thing you want to do now is make sure you get hold of an extra Mime Junior from the Sinnoh region, because I want you to transfer that up and get a Mr. Rhyme. Instead of your Mr. Rhyme coming from the Galar region, your Mr. Rhyme should read from Sinnoh, because that's just really cool. Next up on the list is Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and there are a few prizes in here. Number 1, Scyther and Pinsir. These 2 Pokemon need to be caught in the Sport Ball, which means that they've come from the National Park Bug Catching Contest. Fun fact, Scyther and Pinsir are the 2 Pokemon that can be caught in the most different kinds of Pokeballs, I think Scyther specifically. And this is because of the Sport Ball, so you need to make sure you get hold of those treasures. But that's not it. When you complete your National Dex in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, you get access to a Kyogre and a Groudon. They don't matter. What matters is that your Rayquaza comes from Heart Gold, Soul Silver, because you can only unlock that Rayquaza by getting both the Groudon and Kyogre. It's probably one of the biggest challenges, and it really forces you to play these amazing, amazing games. Also compatible with Heart Gold and Soul Silver is the Pokewalker, and there is a hidden course on here called the Nighttime's Edge course, and you can only unlock that course by having a Jirachi on here. How do you get a Jirachi on here? You transfer it from Pokemon Channel to a Gen 3 game, and then move it up through the PAL Park to your Generation 4 Heart Gold Soul Silver. That way, you can unlock the Nighttime's Edge course, and your Clefairy and Jigglypuff must come from that course. They'll just read in the screen from Johto, but you'll know that you got it from the Pokewalker. They start becoming a lot more straightforward after this. The last Generation 4 game that we want to talk about is Pokemon Battle Revolution. There are 3 Pokemon you can get from this game: Pikachu, Electivire, and Magmortar. So yes, your Pikachu, Electivire, and Magmortar. You might have realized that I missed Electivire and Magmortar earlier when talking about Kantomons. They all need to read from Poketopia. You can see mine here. It says it's from the Sinnoh region because that's what Poketopia is kind of part of. And it says that the original trainer is Poketopia. You can even see it's got the move Volt Tackle, which is kind of the special thing about this Pikachu at that time. I don't think there was any other way of getting a Volt Tackle Pikachu apart from through events. Next up, we have Pokemon Black and White and Black and White 2. There are a number of Pokemon you need to get from these games. First of all, any Pokemon that has the original trainer being N, because there's a whole side quest and you can follow it on Cerebi.net. You can actually get a lot of advice about all of these on Cerebi.net. All of N's Pokemon must come from the Unova region, and I think there's a full list of them. They're relatively easy to get hold of, but just all of these Pokemon must be N's Pokemon. Your Phanpy and Teddiursa also need to be from Black and White 2, specifically from the trades with Nancy, and I believe it's Curtis in the other version of the game, and these are trades that you get access to through the result of a ridiculous X-Transceiver side quest. Also available in these games are 3 guaranteed shinies: a shiny Haxorus for completing the game, a shiny Dratini at the the end of White 2 and a shiny Gible at the end of Black 2. Your Gible, your Dratini, your Haxorus, they should be in your Pokedex, these shiny Pokemon. Look, I'll show you. Right here, you can see my Gible. It's a level 1 Gible. It's shiny and it's from the Unova region, and that's because it is the prize from the end of the game. Actually, speaking of shinies, I completely forgot as well, your Gyarados should be the shiny Gyarados from Virtual Console Gold Silver Crystal from the Lake of Rage. Totally forgot about that, my bad. Also, my DS battery is flashing here, but there is a side game that you can download on the 3DS eShop called the Dream Radar game. There is a number of Pokemon that you can get in this game, but specifically, your Landorus, Tornadus, and Thundurus must all come from this Dream Radar game, as well as your Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina. As you can see, it means that they'll read from the Unova region and they'll be in Dream Balls, and the way that you unlock those Pokemon in the Dream Radar minigame is by having Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, or Platinum be in the DS while you play the Dream Radar game. And you can actually also do that for Hot Gold and Soul Silver to get hold of a Ho-Oh and Lugia, but the reason we're not doing those is because we're already getting our Ho-Oh and Lugia from Colosseum and XD Gale of Darkness, which is way harder. Now, there are absolutely no extra Pokemon that you need to go out of your way to get in Pokemon X and Y. Just get the Pokedex. So that's fine. However, there is an Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire demo in which you can be awarded a Glalie. So your Glalie, as you can see by mine here, it says it's from the Hoenn region. It has that little pentagon above it to indicate that it's come from a Generation 6 game. It's actually come from the Oras demo. And similarly, your Greninja should be from the Sun and Moon demo, because there's the special Ash Greninja that you get from the Sun and Moon demo, and that's that. I really told you, I'm gonna make you play everything. Don't worry though, we are nearly at the end. For the Alola region, there are a number of totem Pokemon that you can transfer up to Pokemon Bank. Some of them you can't. There's a whole list of them, one of which includes Alolan Raticate, so your Alolan Raticate should be from this as well. But any of these totem Pokemon that you can transfer up, see a full list or a bunch of pictures here, any of those totem Pokemon, they should be that Pokemon. For example, while there's no way to indicate it on screen, I don't think, this Gumshoos, this is the Alolan totem Gumshoos. Also, as I mentioned before, your 10% Zygarde, your Ash Cat Pikachu, they need to come from Alola. Magearna needs to come from Alola. That can't just be an anything event, because there is a way of consistently getting Magearna using QR codes. And also, going right back to my Kanto Pokemon, your Raichu, as you can see by mine here, is a very special Raichu. It knows the move Surf, and it's come from the Alola region. That's because this Raichu is the Raichu that you get awarded for completing the Mantine Surfing minigame, which is just totally awesome. So your Raichu has to come from there. And the reason it's your Cantonian Raichu is because then you've got to evolve it in a very special way to make sure it doesn't turn into an Alolan Raichu. Right, there's just 2 games left. I mean, obviously there's also Sword and Shield, but Sword and Shield, just anything that's new in Sword and Shield, get it. You know, all your G-Max forms, all that stuff, they've got to come from Sword and Shield. However, there is also Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. I was really struggling to find a way to include these, because it's like, what's the most powerful, rarest, special gem Pokemon in these games? And in the end, I just landed on Moltres, Zapdos, Articuno, and Mewtwo. They are the boss Pokemon of the game, so those Pokemon, they need to have come from Pokemon Let's Go, Eevee, or Pikachu for you to be able to complete this challenge. Also, the games are kind of included because you do need to get hold of the Let's Go special Eevee or Pikachu, that you get the G-Max ones for the Sun, but that's in Sword and Shield. Oh, I'm getting all the names confused now. Right, okay, just a few more. We also know that Pokemon Go compatibility is coming, and I wanted to include Pokemon Go somehow, even if it's just a little bit. We know that we probably won't be able to transfer mythical Pokemon. If it turns out that we are, then Mew, the Mew that you get for doing the research tasks that's always there, that Mew, that's the main thing. If you can't, your Mew must come from the Pokeball Go Plus. And I know what a lot of you are going to say. That's a paywall. There's a paywall between me and my Mew. Here's the thing. This is the Pokemon Home Master Challenge, and everything is a paywall because you need literally every Pokemon game, and I don't want to not include the Pokeball Go Plus. However, also to help cover Pokemon Go, obviously your Meltan and Melmetal, they'll need to come from Pokemon Go. And just to add in that extra little bit of difficulty, your Kangaskhan, Tauros, Farfetch'd, and Mr. Mime, that's the one that we have here, those Pokemon, they are region exclusive, so you have to travel across the world to get them all, or, you know, just trade them with friends. Those 4 Pokemon, and I'm not going to do it for all the future generations because I know that they're going to keep on adding these regionally exclusive Pokemon and Go. Just these 4 Pokemon, they all need to come from Pokemon Go. Like you can see right here, my Kangaskhan, it has the little symbol that means that it's come from Pokemon Go, and that's because I got traded this Kangaskhan by a friend who went and obtained it. And that is it. Kind of. Nearly. Hold up. That is the complete Pokemon Home Master Challenge. If you are able to get a living Pokedex under these circumstances, then well done. It it means that you've probably played pretty much every Pokemon game, or you've worked with other Pokemon masters to trade for some of the rarest of the rare Pokemon. But I'm not quite done. Because, well, yes, that's the challenge, and if you've played it, then you complete it, well done. There is also some opportunities for some Gold Star Pokemon. There are 10 of these. There's 10 Gold Stars and 1 Gold Ribbon. These are for the truly phenomenal feats. So here are the 10 Gold Star Pokemon. So the first Gold Star that's available to you is in Pokemon Emerald. I mentioned earlier that if you complete the National Dex in Pokemon Emerald, you get offered a Cyndaquil or a Chikorita or a Totodile. And that's great, that's part of the challenge, you need to get one of them. But if you get all 3, which means completing the National Dex 3 times, I award you 1 of 10 Gold Stars. I'd still need to do this one. While your Steelix in the challenge conventionally should say that it came from Virtual Console Kanto, because it's a Johto evolution of a Kanto Pokemon, if your Steelix instead came from the Japanese version of the ORAS demo, then well done, you get a Gold Star, because what a pain it'll be for you to get hold of a Japanese DS and access to the eShop and everything else. Your Pichu, if you can find it, if you can have access to it, there is a GameCube game called Pokemon Box on the GameCube. It is quite rare, and I know it's a little bit costly, and it's kind of like an early version of Pokemon Home, where you store Pokemon, and you can actually store up to 1,000 Pokemon there. And if you store 1,000, you get an egg containing a very special Pichu. If you get that Pichu, well done, it's a Gold Star. In Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, and Emerald technically, I guess, there is, you can only get, I think it's Latios on Ruby and Latias in Sapphire. However, if you get hold of an e-reader, as I've managed to do with the help of my friend, Sarah B. Joe, and you scan the Eon ticket, it's a very old retro collectible, good luck trying to find someone who has one. If you have your Latios and Latias have come from the Southern Island through this event, and no, I'm not talking about the Southern Island on Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, just on the original Ruby and Sapphire, then well done, you get a Gold Star for having the Latios and Latias from that. The next Gold Star, of course, is from Sinnoh, and that's the Munchlax from the Honey Trees. While you can do the challenge, as I have, just by breeding a Snorlax using the incense and then getting a Munchlax in the Sinnoh region so that it says that it came from Sinnoh, that's all very well and good. But if yours specifically was caught in one of those honey trees, because wow, that is just so rare and time consuming, well done, you get a Gold Star. Also from the Sinnoh region, if your Fione and Manaphy read that they came from the Sinnoh region, you get a Gold Star. And that's because the only way to do that nowadays is to get a Manaphy from Pokemon Ranger. There's only 1 Manaphy per copy of the game. Some of you saw me complete this on stream last year, and then I traded over the Manaphy and then bred it for a Fione. So if they both read from Sinnoh, you get a Gold Star. This one is diminishing. There are fewer of these in the world every year. And that's why this is only a 3-year challenge or a 2-year challenge, depending on when the next generation is. Because again, some of these are running out. Speaking of which, if your Fione came from My Pokemon Ranch on the Wii, you also get a Gold Star. That is a phenomenally rare one, because Pokemon Ranch on the Wii, you can't download it anymore, there's no Wii eShop, so it's just about, does your console have a copy of My Pokemon Ranch, or does a friend's? And if so, get hold of Fione from it, because it is super rare. I also mentioned earlier that it is painful to get all of the Vivillon forms from Kalos. So if you can do it, which it is still technically possible, if you can get all your Vivillon forms, as I did reading from the Kalos region, then well done, Gold Star. That doesn't include the 2 event-exclusive Vivillons, of course, because they're event-exclusive. You can't get them nowadays. But as for the rest of them, yeah, if you can get hold of them this way, then well done, Gold Star to you. 2 more remaining. I think this is probably one of the hardest ones, is if you have a Japanese GameCube, a Japanese version of Colosseum, and a Japanese e-reader. I don't know if you need a Japanese e-reader, maybe just a regular one, and you get hold of the Shadow Scizor, Mareep, and I think it's a Togepi from Pokemon Colosseum, well done, Gold Star to you. That really is the rarest of the rare. And if your Wynut appeared in Mirage Island on Pokemon Ruby or Sapphire or Emerald, then well done. That Wynut is worth a Gold Star to me. I also got to mention, as part of the challenge, you need to have 2 matching Spinder, and that might seem absolutely impossible because there are like 1 billion different forms of Spinder. However, with Pokemon Go compatibility coming out, there's only a limited amount of Spinder on there, so it's become a lot easier. Also, there is a glitch called the Cute Charm glitch in Generation 4, and I know one of the community members used that to help trade me their 2 matching Spinders, so that's how I have 2 matching ones. You can use whatever techniques you like. In fact, when it comes to glitches, it really is up to you. Also, because you only have a shiny Gyarados, Haxorus, Dratini, and Gible, make sure that you have a non-shiny version just sitting in the box as well to make sure that you've got those too. So there you go, that's the challenge with all the gold stars. I also mentioned a gold ribbon. What's that? Well, if one of your Pokemon has every possible ribbon on it, and you can watch the video by Johnston, which is really awesome, describing how to get a Pokemon with every ribbon, well done, you win a gold ribbon. That's just a side challenge that we thought would be really cool to add into this if one of the Pokemon in your Pokedex has every ribbon. So good luck with that. I'll link to Johnston's video below. And finally, the tippity top of this challenge, the biggest version of this that you can possibly do. If on top of all of this, you have every single Pokemon, every single form, and every single gender variant as shiny, other than the 4 that you've already got because they were guaranteed, the Gyarados, Haxorus, Gible, and Dratini. If you have everything as shiny from their native regions, I'm not going to specify that they have to be virtual console or this version or that version, as long as they're from their native regions, all 890 Pokemon, 151 from Kanto, 100 from Johto, 135 from Hoenn, 107 from Sinnoh, 156, the biggest one from Unova, all 72 Pokemon from Kalos, all 86 Pokemon from Alola, and all 81 Pokemon from Galar, as well as all of their forms, all gender variants, all everything. If you have all of those Pokemon as shiny, well done, you've won the Ghost Star, because it's literally going to take you until you're dead to complete that challenge. But to any of you who are up for it, good luck. I wish you the best. This was an exceptionally long video. Thank you for watching. If you want to get hold of the full rule set, there is a spreadsheet linked down below made by our wonderful community over on Discord who are doing the Pokemon Home Master Challenge. Just check that chat if you have any questions. If you want to take on this challenge, I give you between now and the release of Generation 9 to take up the challenge, as many gold stars as you want. I believe there's even a ranking system on the spreadsheet, so that's pretty awesome. Good luck to you, and of course, soar high, Pokemon Masters.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by Birdkeeper Toby. That makes you a Pokemon Master.
And a massive thank you to those of you supporting me on Patreon, including the big patrons of the month, the Nerd Therapist and Gunnar Clovis. Thank you.